Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox from Doctor's Nutrition on Cal and Lorraine Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. We do this every Monday morning. It is a live show, unless we say otherwise. And matter of fact, we'll tell you right now that Christmas Day show and New Year's Eve show, or New Year's Day show, are going to be pre-recorded, but they're going to be great shows that you don't want to miss. We'll let you know the topics in just at the end of this show. But today we're talking about how to get your energy levels up naturally. I mean, this is the time of the year whenever we're just kind of, it's like, oh man, is the year over yet? And then you've got a new one that you have to contend with. Yeah. But we have our phone lines open at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. So if you have any questions regarding today's subject or anything regarding your health, please feel free to give us a call, because that's what this show is all about, helping you live a healthier lifestyle. So people are thinking, energy levels, especially this time of the year, everybody's running, like crazy, trying to do this and that. Yep. End of the day, they're like, oh my gosh, or even from they wake up in the morning. Yeah. I didn't rest. What is the first thing that a person should do if they just feel like, I just don't have any energy anymore?
Of course, we're always going to say this, because this is how we do things. The first thing you do is do some lab work. Find out if you've got problems. You don't know how many people that we come in and say, well, my energy's down. They might be anemic. Maybe they've got a thyroid problem that's not right. Maybe they've got some other nutrients, B12, whatever. But find out what's wrong first, fix that, and see if that energy doesn't come back.
Yep, and then there's things you can do if it doesn't.
Right.
But you always have to fix deficiencies, and you always have to fix underlying problems. Because if you have a thyroid problem, you can take all the B vitamins in the world and you're still not going to feel better. So you have to look at what the problems are. Now, this time of the year, probably part of everybody's problem is stress. And the cortisol, which we see a lot of problems on lab work, can definitely make you tired. Too little cortisol, which is from long-term stress, makes you tired. And then actually being too high from short-term stress makes you tired. So they just need to be right. And there's things that you can do for that. So we always tell people you got to figure out what's going on, because fatigue is probably our biggest complaint. Would you say it's probably a complaint on almost everybody that walks in?
And I hear so many people that say, oh, I just need a B12 shot. I just need a B12 shot.
Now, B12 is great and makes a huge difference in energy if you're deficient.
Right.
Now, or on the low end. If you're already on the high end of B12, taking extra is not necessarily going to make a difference.
Right. And the thing is we get a lot of people that talk about, well, I need a B12 shot. Okay, if you need a B12 shot, you've got some problems. Because if you don't get your B12 through your food, okay, that's one issue. And even if you take a B12, depending on what kind it is, if it's a cyanocobalamin and you can't break it down, you can't take that cyanide and that cobalamin apart, which takes stomach acid, and you don't know how many people come in and they talk about being complaining about fatigue and so on, and they're on every acid reducer in the world. That's telling you you've got an issue that needs to be fixed.
Right.
That's where you start.
And like I said, if you don't need the B12, it won't make a difference. But it makes a world of difference if you are deficient. And we see so many people deficient in B12.
Right.
And there's some recent research, or I say recent, in the last few years, looking at, they definitely have shown a correlation to where if your B12 is not on the high end, you don't want it just in range, you want it on the high end. If it is not, your brain will shrink as you age. And that definitely makes a difference. But B12, and then there's folate. Folate deficiency also makes fatigue. It affects the nervous system just like B12. And all these people run out and get this B12 and take it by itself, and then they deplete their folic acid, and they still don't feel good. So it's more about figuring out what the problems are, because I see a lot of people that have high B12 and their folate is real low. And I said, you take B12, don't you? Well, yeah. Well, you're depleting your folic acid. So you have to do things in balance. And that's what we're there for, is to help you figure out what you need and what you can do to actually feel your best. Because that's the big thing, is everybody says they feel tired. Well, there's a lot of things that actually help fatigue. And that's what we're going to talk about. There's everybody.
Things that you can do naturally.
Right, naturally.
Naturally. Because there's so many out there that say, oh, I got no energy. I'll grab a energy drink.
Yeah, that is not what you want to do.
I'll drink a bunch of coffee.
If you get an energy drink, you're usually taking a whole bunch of caffeine, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And, a little bit of caffeine in coffee without all the sugar and all that is okay, because there's a little bit. But when you start getting high amounts of caffeine, you can start making irregular heart rhythms. You can start causing more fatigue. Then you actually crash afterwards. I mean, so there's so
We've heard of people actually dying on overdosing on energy drinks.
Oh,
yeah, it's
horrible.
happened.
And they're loaded with caffeine, but they're also loaded with sugar.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, diet. We always talk about diet. Now, if you want more energy, get off of sugar and the high simple carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Those make you tired. And the bad thing is most people, not everybody, start their day with huge amounts of sugar. And it makes them crash.
Yeah.
And it's going to make you tired. So that's going to be your cereal, your pancakes, your waffles. You know, a lot of the things, even bananas, have a lot of sugar in them.
Yeah.
And so that's going to actually, things that people do in the morning, a lot of times make them crash, and then they're going to be tired the rest of the day.
Yeah. You know, America seems to be one of the few countries in the world. I mean, England, UK is another one. But other than that, we're one of the few countries that have, quote unquote, breakfast food. Go to Japan, you just have food. Go to some of these other countries, it's just food. It's not breakfast food, it's food. And when you do that and you stay away, because everything, you tell me a breakfast food. I always ask people this, tell me a breakfast food that's not loaded with sugar and simple carbs. And
there's a few.
Eggs.
Eggs.
Eggs is about the only one. Okay, so what do you eat with the eggs? That's the next question. Oh well, I have blah blah, huh?
Sausage.
No, most of them have toast, and they have jelly, and they have
grits,
syrup,
and wheat, and
so
Well, I just put butter on my toast so I can sop up my egg yolk.
well, that's okay. I mean, that's
the country side of me.
but it depends on what kind of bread you have. Like
Right.
normal, regular bread, for one, when something can stay on the shelf for 2 and 3 months at a time, you shouldn't be eating it.
It's what they call ultra processed food.
Yep. He's reading a new book now that is called Ultra Processed Food, and that has some information that was even shocking to us.
We'll have to do a show on that sometime.
Exactly, we should. We should. We can do a whole show on talking about that.
It's
sure it's
truly
pretty scary.
scary. I mean, it really is.
So doing a real food diet and getting off of sugar is definitely a way you can actually help your energy naturally.
Right.
896-0713 or 800-349-0713. We're trying to help you get your energy levels up naturally, because right now everybody's wearing themselves out getting ready for the holidays, whether they're getting their still doing their shopping, which I haven't even started yet.
You haven't? You're a little late.
I know. Well,
it's not Christmas Eve yet.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, we'll take a break, and we'll be back with our second segment in just a moment. And welcome back, our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. We're talking about how to get your energy levels up naturally. Someone called in and wanted to know, what is the best treatment for parasites?
Go ahead. I think you got
okay,
this.
we have a product called Parashield.
Yeah.
And so a Parashield is for parasites, and you take 2 twice a day on an empty stomach, and normally for about a month. Every once in a while I have somebody that does it for an extra month because they actually see things in the toilet after they take it.
I think it's a good idea to go more than that.
Yeah, so it's and so
me.
go in a couple months. Now you always want to also do something to kill the eggs, and cloves is one of the good things for that. We do have a clove oil, but we also have another product called intestinol, which does have the cloves in it for killing the eggs. So we can use those 2 products together, or you can use the Parashield with cloves. So that is up to you.
And a lot of times you can actually do just the plain Parashield, but do it for about 3 months, and that's usually what
If you do it longer, then it
do it
goes
longer
through the
because
cycles of the eggs.
Yeah, because the eggs are, and you know, people, as everybody seems to be so embarrassed about, oh, I may have parasites. Look, parasites are a part of life. Okay, a lot of things are parasites, but when you get into parasites, where do we get them? Well, if you eat things like salads,
You get them.
there you go. If you can't see an egg, I promise you, with your naked eye, you cannot see an egg of a parasite. So you ingest it. It gets in there, it finds a home, it kind of sets up shop, and it waits till it hatches. So, okay, so people that are trying to be quote unquote healthy and eating their salads, things like that, raw vegetables, that's where you pick this stuff up.
So do wash your food good. That's one tip for keeping parasites down. Wash your food good. But the other one is don't eat raw food, including sushi. Get cooked sushi.
Man.
I'm not saying don't get sushi, but don't. We have seen many people over the years that come in that have parasites that show up on lab work. They're so bad.
Yeah.
And it's because of raw fish. And so definitely cook your food and wash your vegetables.
And even your vegetables.
Now, what
probably a
about
good
these
idea to cook.
prepackaged bags of salads that you buy?
It says they're
still-
pre-washed. I would still wash them.
Even though it says, we've got a little spinner thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, you
Oh,
wash
I've
it,
seen
put it in
those.
there, and
Put
you
it in there,
spin it,
and
and
yeah.
it gets all the water off of it. And we wash the heck out of it. Put that thing, spin it, and get all the water off of it.
Right.
Because, I mean, I don't care how good you think you're washing it, there's still a parasite egg or something like that could be on there, and you'd never
And we
see
all
it.
have a little bit
Yeah.
of parasites, but
It's
when
normal.
they get overgrown
Right.
or really get infested is when there's a problem.
Our immune system normally takes care of stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713 if you have any questions regarding what our subject of the day is, which is energy levels, getting them up naturally, or like this, just any random question regarding your health, please
Right.
feel free to call in and ask. So what are some good kinds of foods?
Any real food.
Real food.
Now, let me define a real food. It's a food that you're going to have to do something to yourself, okay?
Right.
If it's in a bag, if it's in a package, it's probably not real food. And one way to tell if it's real food, look on the ingredients, start reading labels. Gosh, folks, that's the biggest thing you can do is start reading labels. And if there's an ingredient on there and you don't have it in your pantry that you use to cook with all the time,
Don't
probably
use
shouldn't eat it.
it. Yeah.
That's probably the biggest way to tell is
Yep.
if it's got an ingredient and I can't go to the cupboard and pull out that ingredient to make something,
Right.
probably shouldn't eat it.
Yeah. So definitely the food you eat, and there are, like I said, just eat real food.
Real food.
And things that aren't real high in simple carbohydrates and sugar.
Right.
So we should say that because
Starches.
Yes, exactly, because that does make your energy drained. Now, another few other things you can do, like sunshine, great for energy for when it gives you more vitamin D. And vitamin D is one of those deficiencies that can make extreme fatigue. That's another thing that shows up on your lab work. Now, something else in supplement form, everybody knows the B vitamins, and we talked about B12, and I think a B complex is good for most people. But another thing for energy is adaptogens. And people are like, well, what's an adaptogen? Well, it makes the body adapt to stress better. So it makes the body handle the stress that's coming in better.
Things like ginseng. You may have heard of ginseng.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now-
And there's various kinds.
Now, ginseng, though, but always you got to be careful about whether your cortisol is high and low.
Yeah.
Ginseng is great at increasing cortisol. But if somebody's is already high, ginseng is going to make them tireder.
And
So-
normally you get some of that with sushi, but now they can't eat sushi.
And then there is your ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen, but it's good at bringing down the cortisol.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of herbals that help energy, but if you, again, like we said at the beginning of the show, you really need to know where you are on these levels to see what to do. Now, another level that we do in our lab work that makes a huge difference in energy is DHEA. DHEA is
Take one
called
every day.
the aging hormone because the older you get, the lower it goes, and that's why we see a lot of people as they age getting tireder is the DHEA levels.
Right.
But we say the older you get, the lower it goes, but the lower it goes, the older you get because it makes you age.
Well, it
when it's low.
makes you age faster. That's for
Faster.
sure.
So that is one, but not everybody needs it. And if you don't need it, it can actually make you feel like you're on speed if you don't need it. Now, if you do need it, it shouldn't make you feel like that. So that's, again, one reason to check. But we do see a lot of times where DHEA does make a difference. And then exercise. I think everybody knows exercise makes you feel better in the long run as long as you don't overdo it.
Yeah. And that's really, the big thing. We don't need to overdo it. I mean, 15, 20 minutes a day, if you can do that, and just moving. You don't have to have a specific thing you do, just move. That's what the research has kind of come down to, especially in what we call, and I hate this word, the aging population, which I kind of fit in that group, okay? But I don't like that term. But anyhow, as we get a little bit more mature and we age, yes, we want to keep moving. That's the big thing. Because if you don't move, a lot of things are going to happen to you, and you're not going to feel well, and you're really not going to have much energy.
If your DHEA is low, like I said, it definitely makes lack of energy, but it also makes joint pain.
Right.
So if you take your DHEA, it does help you be able to exercise without having as much pain.
Right.
So that's the thing is you just got to fix underlying problems. That's what we tell people all the time. And handling stress with adaptogens is one way that you can do it because
Definitely.
stress, no doubt, plays a role. And then there's depression this time of the year. You mentioned this time of the year, depression will make you tired even if
Yeah.
everything else is okay. And we definitely, the 5-HTP is good for depression, SAMe is good for depression. So there are so many natural products that are good depending on what you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Limit your alcohol.
Yeah, definitely.
Limit
your alcohol.
If you overdrink, you're going to feel horrible. Go out and do it and you'll see.
Yeah, try it and find out. Right.
Yeah,
and it'll knock you out like that.
Yeah.
But then when you wake up, you feel,
yeah.
Yeah, all your bad habits probably make you feel bad in the long run. The smoking too much, the drinking too much, the eating too much sugar, all that makes you feel bad and have lack of energy.
Yeah.
Try to get more sleep.
Oh, definitely. Sleep is one of the most important things that you can do for energy. Because if you don't get 7 to 9 hours a night, and that is what's been shown to be optimal. People will say, oh, I can go by with 5. No, you can't.
It'll catch up with you.
It will catch up with you.
7 to 9 hours a night. Yep. And you want to be in a regular cycle.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. We'll have our last segment coming up in just a moment, as well as this week's special. 19 minutes after 9 o'clock, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Somebody called in and wanted to know about issues with tingling in their hands and feet.
Yeah, tingling in the hands and feet, you definitely have to, it's usually a neuropathy of some sort, but what can cause those neuropathies, there's multiple things, but the most likely, B12 and folate deficiencies, and we see a lot of that, where they actually, basically you're getting nerve damage from the deficiencies, and people don't realize B12 isn't just for energy. It does make you not have nerve damage to have it normal. Now, also, blood sugar issues. Blood sugar issues can also make neuropathies. And so having the A1C checked to see if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, because even pre-diabetes can cause neuropathies. So you do want to look at those, find out what the reason is, so doing the lab work's the best thing you can do. And I think their other part of their question is they asked if it can affect energy levels. Well, yes, especially if it's a B12 deficiency, it definitely affects energy levels. And actually, diabetics tend to be tired because you're damaging all the cells in your body. So yes, it can make fatigue as well.
Yeah, on that A1C, everybody thinks, well, if I go up to that 5.6%, I'm okay, I'm normal. The problem that they found in a lot of the research is we can see tissue damage at 5.5%, which is well within that range, or above. So 5.5, 5.6, just being on the high end of normal is not necessarily a good place to be because, yeah, you can still have tissue damage there. So that's you want to get that down.
Right.
And the B12 is very important in that case.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what our special of the week is for this week.
It's called NAD Boost. And what we're trying to do, NAD is nicotinamide adenosine trinucleotide. It's the precursor to something called yeah, I know, it jumped over. All right, okay. It's
choked on my water.
Right. It's the precursor to something called ATP. Now, what is ATP? That's the gasoline that keeps your engine running, period. End of story.
That
right
is
there.
energy.
That is energy. ATP is adenosine trinucleotide, triphosphate. Anyhow, ATP is what we're after. Now, this NAD Boost, yes, it's got some really kind of neat stuff, but there's a particular ingredient in there that has a type of ribose with some niacin, and the company that makes it got some good research to back it up. And what they show was it really does boost the ATP production in the cells, which is in your mitochondria. We've talked about those things
Yeah,
before.
we've had shows about
yeah,
mitochondria.
we've talked about those before. But this stuff really does do that, and it's a patented product or patented ingredient, if you will. And it really does seem to help the folks that take it because we've got to have that ATP working.
It is for energy levels.
Right.
And it's safe. It is really good for anti-aging.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of anti-aging research. When it comes to the mitochondria, and we've talked about it before, real quick because it is very important for energy, is ATP is produced in the mitochondria. Like you just said, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. If you don't have your mitochondria working properly to produce cellular energy, you are going to be tired. You're going to have lack of energy. And at the same time, you're going to have a lot of aging going on because the mitochondria getting slowed down is what causes aging. So the products that tend to boost the ATP and help mitochondria are really big for anti-aging. So that's why you need to look at it. And the good thing is this one, they recommend, even the people that patented it says 1 a day you can see a difference. And you can take 1, but you can even take 2. But 1 a day, and you do want to do it in the morning because it does tend to help your energy some. And it is a new product, so a lot of people out there probably are not taking it yet because we just got it in not long ago. So it is one that you want to try and see how it works for you.
Right.
Okay. 8960713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you. We have about 5 minutes left, 4 or 5 minutes left on this morning's show. So I've just made a list of things that were, things that you can do to get your energy levels up.
Okay.
One thing, lighten your load. Don't
Yeah,
put
well-
so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to stress.
Yeah. Stress.
That goes
Yeah,
back to
big
stress. And
time.
stress is probably one of the biggest offenders of people being tired.
Yeah. It
There's
really
no
is.
doubt, because stress will get to you. So that's one thing. And over the holidays, like you said, everybody's kind of, it's because of stress. You want to kind of get away from it as much as you can. If it's something that you can avoid and something you don't absolutely have to do, don't do it.
Smoking.
Oh, smoking is terrible.
Yeah.
I already said bad habits a minute ago, and that
Yeah.
is definitely a bad habit that will shorten your life.
It definitely will.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely will. So,
Yep. So smoking is not good.
and getting back to getting more sleep, if you have the opportunity, I've always been good about, I can go home for lunch and I can sit down on the couch or whatever, take like a 20-minute power nap. And it just really recharges you.
A lot of people do that.
Men can do that better than women.
Really?
They really can. Overall, when you talk to people, men can go take that little bit of nap and be okay. Most women can't.
Yeah, most women I've mentioned it to, they'll say, oh, I got to have about an hour or two.
Well, and so men sleep better as a whole than women as well, and go to sleep faster, I find, just talking to people. That's not from the research, that's just from talking to people for 20-something years. How many years have we been doing this?
We'll be doing about 28 years.
28 years. So 28 years of talking to people, that's kind of what I
Give or
thought.
take.
sleep
it.
faster than you do?
Oh, gosh, yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, I also wanted to tell everybody our holiday schedule.
Yes.
So you'll know when we're closed. We are closing this Friday at 2. So we're going to close part of the day 3 hours early on Friday. And then we are going to be closed Monday and Tuesday coming up. So that would be Christmas Day.
Saturday.
Oh,
as well.
Saturday also, yes.
Yeah.
Saturday is
Friday,
right.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday we are closed. No, not Friday, we're open in the morning. The next week, we're only closed on Monday, which is New Year's Day.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to let everybody know, because we're going to get 1,000 calls on when are we closed? When are we open?
And also let you know that Christmas Day, the show will be pre-recorded, and we will be talking about
Christmas, we're talking about how being happy and actually positive and all that helps your health. So that's what we're going to talk about on Christmas Day.
a lot of great tips on that. And
Yep.
then New Year's Day, we will not be here either. We will be talking about,
Healthy tips for the new year.
there you go.
What else?
Yep. So
Definitely.
things you can do for the new year.
Yes, and there are so many things you can do. I mean, we talked today about getting your energy levels up naturally, but there's more that you can do to it. Matter of fact, you can go online to doctorsnutrition.com and get a lot of information there on their website. Facebook has a plethora of information on there.
Yep.
And now also on YouTube. And
Yeah.
be sure that you go on and register or sign up for it.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Thank you. That's the word I
Yeah.
couldn't think of.
That's the one.
Subscribe on their website and on their YouTube page, because they will send you weekly
A newsletter.
a newsletter that's
Right.
is chocked full of information
Right.
to help you out. So again, that's YouTube, doctorsnutrition.com, as well as Facebook. A lot of great.
And we also
information
have a
there.
blog that's on our website. So
And in case this is the first time you've tuned in, let you know that you never need an appointment. There's no charge for a consultation. So, I mean, it's a great way to get yourself, healthy on a healthier path for the new year. Anyway, hope you have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will see you live
Yep.
next year. Bye-bye.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.